Hello and welcome everybody to 1978. In 1978, Andy North won the US Open. Congratulations, Andy North. And Gary Player won the Masters. Gary Player of international fame, South Africa. Who's not from South Africa? Ben Hogan, who developed this brand. And it was sold to AMF, obviously, in 1978. It's currently, at the time of making of this club, it was owned by AMF. Ben Hogan was from Texas. What do you think of when you think of Texas? The Hogan brand is one of these brands that I love and hate. It drives deep emotion in me. They're very common. I talked to caddies from all over the country. California, here in Wisconsin, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and they tell me, I ask them, and we talk about what's going on. They say, you know what, for decades, through the 70s, 80s, 90s, they just saw Ben Hogan clubs everywhere. They were just ubiquitous. They were just super common. And that, to me, is one of the downsides, but by many, including me, for many years, these are considered the best irons ever made. For those periods, it was just like, you wanted a good set of irons, where would you go? This brand. So I don't know, it drives deep emotion in me. That's one of the reasons why I love this brand, and sometimes maybe not so much. Let's get this particular specimen on the review table and have a closer look at identifying features. Very easy to identify. It literally says Medallion here on the top line on the aft portion of the club. The Ben Hogan seal and Ben Hogan script right here on the muscle. So you can see there's actually a step down. Let's show you the toe profile here. So the really thin top line moves into this muscle, and there is a little step. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see it, but there's a little step right here where it steps down before you reach this flared sole. Pretty interesting muscle back design. I really like it. You can see the heel profile here as well. Great contours and feel to this iron. It feels very solid. Spinning around to the face, there's no embellishments on the side, but there is a little flare out here towards the sole, kind of curved right here towards the heel. This particular 7-iron has kind of a rounded toe right there. I mean, it still looks pretty sharp. At a dress, beautiful, beautiful top line. I mean, oh my goodness, Ben Hogan is great at that. There is a pin here, so this is a pinned shaft. There's some cosmetic. You remember in Hickory days, they called it nicking, where they would put, hammer the steel into the wood. There's some, decorative vertical lines here as well on the hosel. What I call a serial number, I understand this is just a manufacturing number indicating various things, but that's found on the ferrule right here. And then we move up the stepped shaft. I love these shafts. I put the sticker on here just to remind me the year. You can see 1978 through 82, this was in production. AMF, this is, during the AMF years of the Hogan brand. Number 4 right here. Leather wrap grip. Man, these were the days. I love these leather wrap grips. They last so long, So, that said, lovely, lovely Hogan blade. What we really need to do is get this out on the range and hit a few balls with it. Ben Hogan Medallion. It is a lovely, clear, crisp 48-degree day today here in Wisconsin. And man, I tell you, it snowed this week. The grass is still green. The grass is always a little greener somewhere else besides here, but you know what I mean. All right. So first thing I noticed is this sound of leather. Do you love the sound of leather in the evening? It's evening right now. Sound of leather. The other thing I noticed is this looks like there's tons of offset. There's a little bit of offset here. But the way that the hosel interacts with the face, it just like 90s and pushes, it looks like it's just way back. So it looks like there's tons of offset, which to me is a little bit distracting. All right. Let's see if my hips work today. And there is some hope at some point in the next few months that there will be warmth in my life. All right, let's see how we do. It's the usual fadey shots. Not fadey, draw, going from right to left. Those shots. The usual, what I'm used to seeing. All right, let's hit a few more here. Man, I'm not feeling it today. Let's see if we can work some video magic here and get you a once in a lifetime weird shot. All right, let's see if we can straighten this out just a little bit. No idea if this is going to work. Nope, I was trying to go from out to in and I pulled one, which is the risk I have whenever I try to do that. So there's your first miss hit. Same thing, just try to keep my face a little bit more open. There we go, that's straighter. It felt a little thin. Yeah, that's maybe 10 yards, 15 yards short of my good one. Same idea. All right, here we go. Come on, hips, you can do this. Yeah. Again, that one felt a little fat as well. Same. Oh, maybe a tiny bit further than that last one. Anyway, it rewards you for good shots. Ugh. I just need to, the problem is, it's contingent on me hitting a good shot. So let me know your thoughts about the Ben Hogan Medallion. Absolutely lovely blade. I mean, it's so honest. Just, you get what you put out of it, you know? You get out what you put in. Did I say that right? So this iron feels exactly how a blade should feel. This is like the definition. You look up, like, how should a bladed iron feel? This, okay? If you want to know how a bladed iron should feel, this is on the list of, you know, standards. It set the bar, okay, coming out of Fort Worth, Texas, as Ben Hogan came out of Fort Worth, Texas. Ben Hogan was famously, people described him as cold or quiet or reserved. Some people said they kind of butted heads with him because he wasn't very social. And yeah, I don't know if any of that's true, but like my perception of Texas, I have the stereotype of Texas. Buckle up. I'm going to offend some people, all right? This is probably an incorrect perception of Texas. But I always, think oil, and I know people down there who work in tech and who are engineers, and I just imagine a bunch of chemical engineers sitting around the table with their families, just like, I reckon the finite volume method was the most interesting method of all. Somebody else was like, I disagree. The finite element method is what's most commonly used, and I remember using that distinctly quite often when I was at the university. Well, you may be right, it may be the most common, that doesn't mean it's not the most interesting. And you're just like, pass the cranberry sauce, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's like, that's how I just imagine it, right? Just full of chemical engineers just like having these ludicrous discussions that nobody cares about. They're like, what? Can we just... They're raising the bar, right? It's like, oh yeah, well, we could be here, but we're going to be here. That's what Ben Hogan is doing with these irons, the stereotype of Texas. May not be the biggest state in the union, but we sure know how to get numerical values for partial differential equation. All right, so this, I feel like, was in that era where the Hogan brand, sure, AMF, whatever you want to call it, but under the direction of like Ben Hogan was like raising the bar. I don't know if it was directly, but either way, the precedent he set with this brand is just like, oh, the rest of the irons are here, we're going to make them this good. And that's what they did. This is part of that era, and it's a standout, all right? You want an iron that set the standard back in the day, Ben Hogan Medallion. Yes, there are more rare sets. There are more valuable sets. There are more modern sets. There are prettier irons. But what more could you ask for? I mean, this is just the standard bearer of the time. Let me know your thoughts and memories with your Hogan irons, Medallion or not, in the comments below. And let me know how far off am I on my stereotypes of Texas. So, that said, I'd like to thank my patrons. I really appreciate your support. It means so much to me, sticking with me through this slower time, taking a little hiatus here. Another way you can support this channel is by visiting my Amazon shop. I am an Amazon associate. I make proceeds from qualifying purchases. There is a little data collection here at the end. So if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I am the Vintage Golfer.